Trauma-Informed Marriage, Part 2. Coming at you. In my last video, I talked to you about the broad concept of a trauma-informed marriage. Now I want to talk about Part 2. What does it really mean to heal together following trauma? I once heard it said, we have all our wounds in relationship and we experience all our healing in relationship. And if that's true, yikes, you can't get away from relationships. There's no escaping. All the damage that was done in the context of a relationship, and all the undoing, all the healing that I need, I want. I can't just go off on my little island. No man is an island. No person is an island. No one heals on an island. Wilson! That's a Castaway reference. Poor Wilson, too. God. So if that's true, that all the damage that we experience is done in the context of a relationship, and the only way to do that damage is, again, in the context of a relationship, then what does that look like doing healing together with your partner, with your spouse? Can I wave my hands more like this? A trauma-informed marriage is not about the absence of conflict. It's not about creating a conflict-free relationship, a conflict-free zone. There's no conflict-free zone. It doesn't exist. Every relationship has conflict. Good relationships have conflict. Bad relationships have conflict. The third kind has conflict. Tall people have conflict. Short people have conflict. Medium-sized people have conflict. You put two imperfect people together, guess what? Conflict. Lots of it. All those middle-sized people, man, they're tough to deal with. So it's really about creating new patterns. Patterns that heal, patterns that shed light, bring light. Shed light? I think you shed skin, not light. Because we're all used to fighting bad. We've done that. We're used to fighting in a way that brings damage and perpetuates the problem. So what if you could engage in conflict that brought clarity and support and allowed you to understand the other person's perspective, allowed you to understand your own perspective more, brought about really good solutions, helped you make progress and advancement on a reoccurring issue? Gosh, wouldn't that be cool? It is cool. It's addicting. I get to help people with that every day in my job. It's very addicting. I'm addicted. I'm hooked. So I want to ask you this question. What if your marriage could actually become a place where you were safe enough to take risks and try to heal old wounds? And that's the power of a trauma-informed marriage. It can happen. It does happen. I see it. But again, if you don't do this, I just want to be on my island, but I also want to have relationships. Oh, you can't have both. But I want to try it. Without engaging in what I'm talking about, you're going to repeat the past mistakes over and over and over again without repair. I was working with a client, and he came from a computer science background. And so I explained this concept to him because he was telling me about working on a project. I don't know, computer stuff, science stuff, right? And he was saying the most frustrating thing was having a bug in his code that he couldn't understand where the bug was and how it was causing issues. And so I said, having a traumatic background, maybe a dysfunctional family, an abusive past relationship is like a piece of bad code that you keep copying and pasting into all future relationships. And when you have a healing relationship, it's like, let's go back through that code, examine, troubleshoot, debug, and examine where that problematic code is. Let's stop copying and pasting it into all future relational interactions. What if we could write a new code that allowed us to connect better, understand each other better, and all the good stuff I was talking about before. So in this video, I want to give you a couple key ideas. I'm kind of laying out the broad structure, and maybe you're intrigued by it. Maybe you think that'd be awesome, but how do I do it? Well, I want to give you some basic ideas on how to do it. Again, my name is Dr. Daniel Bates. I do this stuff with folks every week. I jump in the trenches with them. I get my hands dirty, but it's very fulfilling work. And the people who engage with these concepts and ideas, they generally find them helpful. Okay, so big idea number one is co-regulation instead of escalation. I should have rhymed that better. De-escalation instead of escalation. but you get the point. So emotion regulation is typically something that's individual. It's something I'm doing within myself. I'm being mindful of what my emotions are as they're occurring. That's an important point. And then I'm not immediately attaching to them like this is absolute truth. I'm mad. You made me mad. Me mad. I blame you. But it's more like I can recognize how that emotion might be impacting and influencing my behavior, which may not be optimal for this conversation to advance. So let me take a little moment before I slip into fight, flight, or freeze, the 3 Fs. I didn't come up with them. And then I'm going to do something that's going to help me calm and regulate and ground myself in the moment. Like my self-talk, for example. I might say, I'm okay. I'm not in that past situation where I'm in danger. No one's out to get me. My partner's a good person. I love them. I like them. I chose to be in this relationship. But then more practical things I could do would be like, take a deep breath. I could do some grounding exercises. I could say, hey, I'm getting overwhelmed and overheated. Can we agree to a 10-minute break? Okay, that's all individual stuff. How do I do that with another person? I say, hey, I think we're both getting overwhelmed and heated. Let's both take a deep breath. Hey, let's both agree to take a 10-minute break. Can we both agree? I need to step away. I need to have a little bathroom break, get a drink of water, take a deep breath, respond to a text, look at a funny meme, chill out, cool off, whatever I need to do. Take a lap around my house, go outside, get the mail, check on the dog. There's lots of ideas, but things that help me cool down. If I come into a conversation and I'm at a 9 or an 8 on a scale of 10, good luck. My limbic system, my amygdala is firing on overdrive. It's all just reaction. It's all just big emotion. I'm not being very effective. But if I can do some self-regulation and some co-regulation with my partner and bring myself down to like a 6 or a 5, I'm way more effective at being constructive. Still got some feelings. I'm still a little heated, but I'm going to be way more effective at understanding my partner, verbalizing, using things like I statements, and making progress on the conversation. So in short, a marriage becomes healing when partners regulate themselves and each other instead of just triggering the demon dance, so to speak, of attack, defend, attack, defend. Okay, big idea number. I want you to replace blame with curiosity. Oh, I love this idea. I love it. I think we react so quickly. We get defensive so quickly. They're wrong, and I need to prove them how wrong they are. I need to prove how wrong they are. I'm right. They need to see how right I am. I'm feeling invalidated. They need to validate me. Hold on. Try posing your issue or your concern or your frustration as a question. Test your understanding with their understanding. When couples can do that, that's massive. And that's curiosity. Hold on, let me see if my understanding of what you're saying is correct. So I hear you saying that you hate my guts and you think I'm a piece of crap. Is that what you're trying to say? No. So allow people to clarify. Allow people to correct their understanding, your understanding. And I often coach couples on verbalizing their understanding of what the other person is saying. Now, for some of you, this may sound like redundant communication, but my gosh, it is so necessary and important and helpful. And some people really don't like this. And that hurts my feelings. I'm kidding. I want you to be redundant. I want your partner to say their thing. And then I want you, before you respond and say your thing, I want you to not repeat, but share your understanding of their thing until you get to the point of 100% mutual agreement, like, yeah, you get it, or at least close to it. And so you can do something really simple like, so I hear you saying this. Did I hear you right? Am I hearing you correctly? Is there anything that you would add? Is there anything that you wish I understood better? That's being curious. And my goodness, when you can have people do this, and I've done this, I put pulse oximeters on people's fingers, and it tells me their heart rates. And when they're just doing the demon dance, when they're doing attack and defend, their heart rates are at like 100 beats per minute. I'm not a doctor, but what that tells me is they have, in Gottman language, a negative sentiment override. They're flooded with emotions and they're just feeling attacked and they want to be right. or they want to be heard. And that's a big thing too. People, when they don't feel heard, they tend to get louder and more repetitious. They tend to reiterate. But when you can say, okay, hold on, let me think, hold on. Let me see if I'm understanding you correctly. Are you saying this? So you felt this way because this happened and you felt like I wasn't doing my part or wasn't understanding you as best I could. And then you can see people's heart rates go from like 100 or 90 and it starts go down, 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 down. It goes to like 70 or 60. It goes into a state of rest. When you're in a state of rest, you are regulated. Your prefrontal cortex is working, not your limbic system. At 100 beats per minute, that's your limbic system. That's fight, flight, or freeze. When you're at 60 or 70 beats per minute, that's your prefrontal cortex. It gets a chance to work. Let your prefrontal cortex work. It's amazing what you can do with your prefrontal cortex. So shift from blame to curiosity, because doing that allows you to activate and access your compassion instead of your criticism. Idea number 3. I want you to build a home base. I want you to consider your relationship a safe harbor. And I've used this example or this I've used this metaphor before. Consider you're a ship out in the stormy sea waters, and then you see what do they call the thing on the coast with the light, and it guides the ships to safety, whatever that's called, a lighthouse. So trauma teaches us that relationships aren't safe, and to protect yourself from relationships, expect the worst. I want to teach folks to expect the best. Consider that your relationship is a place where you seek out comfort and rest and care and support. Part of your expectation will shape the interaction. And so you want to be communicating to your partner, I'm not your enemy, I'm your ally. I'm here for you. And whenever you make that kind of investment, it shapes the dynamic. It changes the dynamic. You're more prone to get what you want when you consider your relationship, when you see it from that lens. So whenever you can do small acts of being reliable and doing repairs and offering reassurance, you're going to build that safe harbor. You're going to build that lighthouse brick by brick, and it's going to be really dependable and really strong over time. All right. So you've got a couple big ideas on trauma-informed marriage part 2. Thank you for watching. Your marriage doesn't have to be about surviving past trauma or reoccurring trauma in your relationship. It can be a place where healing happens. When you learn to co-regulate, when you learn to shift from blame to curiosity, and you start building that safe base, that safe harbor, that lighthouse, you don't just start avoiding fights. You can create a marriage where you can experience healing and wholeness. It's awesome.